the States? Just like that?
Mm-hmm. We also just broke the law.
But for a very good cause.
I'm in uncharted territory here, so I'm gonna need your help.
I can see the light of a clear morning. I can see the light of a brand new day.
And that is a scene from The Year Dolly Parton Was My Mom, and we are joined now by the filmmaker, Tara Johns, along with the star. You just saw her in the clip. Julia Stone plays the role of Elizabeth. How are you both?
Hi, guys.
Good.
A little more makeup in that scene, Julia.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a bit. Tara, tell us about this film, first of all, and then we'll sort of get into it. But give us an overview for people who haven't seen it yet.
Well, it's a coming-of-age story. It takes place in the 70s, in the prairies, and Julia plays a young girl named Elizabeth who discovers at a very tender age, 11, 12 years old, that she's adopted, that her parents never told her. And so that sort of sends her on an identity quest.
And you'll have to tell us where Dolly Parton comes into this story, because it has a fantastic connection to Dolly Parton. Tell us about the plot and how Dolly came into play.
Well, when Elizabeth goes on her quest, she becomes convinced that Dolly Parton is her biological mom. And
as one does.
As one would, quite naturally. But I was, it's a bit of a long story, but I was looking for an idea for a short film, and I was kind of open to inspiration. And I had, the first flash I had was, interestingly, very much like what we just saw with a mother-daughter in a car driving somewhere. And we would learn that the mother was taking her daughter to meet her real mother. And so I had that kind of going on in my head, and I heard an interview on the radio with Dolly Parton, who, when you don't see her, you could actually focus on what she's saying, because she is very,
bodacious.
Bodacious, I love it, yeah. So without the boobs and the big hair, you kind of like, I really listened to her for the first time, and I was struck at what a...
Incredibly intelligent,
super intelligent, strong trailblazer. She really was in the 60s and 70s, and she opened up tons of roads for artists, women artists coming up after her.
Julia, being born in 1997, how much did you know about Dolly Parton before you started on this project?
I didn't know anything about Dolly Parton before this, but when I was preparing for the audition, I did a lot of research into who Dolly Parton is and how she was a big part of a lot of people's lives in the 70s. And yeah, I learned a lot about feminism and Dolly Parton.
Tara, I'm getting a sense of why you cast Julia in this role. How did that all come about? Julia, tell us the story, because this is amazing. I mean, for anyone who is interested in acting and everything else, this was a very unusual casting and how it came about. Maybe tell us that story.
Yeah, my mom and I were following Tara's blog because we were really interested in how a story goes from an idea in a writer's head to actually being a movie that we watch. And we heard about open Facebook auditions from the blog, so we decided to just go for it. And
the modern world.
Facebook is good for something? Actually, Tara, what did that decision come from? I mean, to sort of open this up, had you done casting before you sort of turned to social media?
Yeah, we did. We did a traditional kind of cross-Canada breakdown. We had a lot of submissions from really talented young girls. And we did some callbacks after we culled many, many submissions. We did some callbacks in various cities. And I never...
You didn't find the right girl.
I didn't get her,
Well, here she is.
I know.
Now, Tara, we also have to mention the real-life connection to Dolly Parton, because for those who will enjoy the film, you'll hear her music, of course.
Yeah.
But at the end of the film, you hear a great voiceover from Dolly herself, and she sanctioned the movie. And maybe tell us the story about that.
Well, when I came up with the idea, The Year Dolly Parton Was My Mom, I knew that I would have to get her blessing.
I was going to say, that was the title right at the beginning, so there's a hurdle.
Yeah, exactly. So, I set myself up for, a big fall if ever it didn't work, but I knew one thing for sure, that if I had a good script, may get me in the door.
Yeah.
So I spent about 2.5 years writing on spec, you know, with this idea in mind and hoping that I could come up with something that would work. And I did a lot of sort of cyber stalking in the meantime to see how I could manage to get to Dolly if ever I did have that.
Which
script.
correlates a little bit to the movie as well. I mean, where's Dolly? How do I find her? How
Well,
do I talk to
exactly.
her?
Yeah, no, I was really living, you know, you start, art imitates life, imitates
But she
art.
obviously loved the script, and she gave her blessing, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And Julia, I mean, for you playing this character, because this young lady is going through, you know, a really deep search of who she is and her identity. How much did you and Tara sort of talk about this and this young lady and Elizabeth and what she was going through?
Well, being across the country, there were a lot of Skype conversations. So yeah, we did a lot of talking about Elizabeth and her kind of what she learns throughout the story and how she changes.
Yeah. Well, and being 13, I mean, that is a time when you're looking around and questioning things as well. So how was this whole experience for you? I mean, this was your first feature film.
Yes.
How did you enjoy it?
I loved it. It was, going into it, I was a bit like nervous.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big role.
Yeah. But once I got on set, everyone was so nice and welcoming, and it was a great set to be on.
This was your, sorry, were you just, I'm like a good waiter. I wait until you're about to take a sip and then ask a question. This was your first feature too.
Yes.
So, I mean, you know, there's a real nice connection between you two sort of growing into this together.
Yeah, we did. We grew up
experience.
together, a little like the mother-daughter combo in the film.
And quickly tell us about the rest of the cast too, because there's some
Gil
great
Bellows,
actors in here.
Yeah, we have Gil Bellows, as you said, a hometown favorite.
Yeah.
He plays the father, Elizabeth's father, and Masha Grenon, who is a very well-known actor in Montreal, in Quebec, well-loved, and she plays the mother.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah, no, she does a great job, and we have various local actors in Manitoba, and as well as Montreal that fill out the supporting cast.
Well, congratulations on the film to everyone involved. It's absolutely amazing. And of
Now
course,
you can have
it's
a sip
called.
of water.
You can have your water now. The Year Dolly Parton
Tara, I was
My
wondering.
Mom opens April 8th at the International Village. If you want to check it out, it's an amazing movie.
Tara, Julia, thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys
Thanks so
so
much.
much.